Cesar, it's your turn. Now you are the moderator. You can share your screen.
Okay. Greetings and salutations, everybody. Today's presentation it's about Bitcoin.
Sorry,
Bitcoin.
Cesar. Are you sharing a screen?
I'm in the process.
But we cannot see your presentation. You are not sharing your screen. You can please try to share it.
How?
Oh, there you are. Now you can share. All right. Please start
You can see
again.
the presentation.
Yes, we can watch it.
Okay, it's about Bitcoin economic, technological, and environmental implications. Why have I selected this topic? Because I'm a fan of investments, economics, geopolitics, and topics related to money and new ways of create freedom through money, and those new generations of cryptocurrencies that are dominating the world now. So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a decentralized currency created in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto as a reaction of the subprime mortgages crisis in the United States that raged over the world with economic chaos, and most of the people affected by this economic crisis were small investors and people of the daily life that save money in banks. So as a reaction, that person or that group of persons, that group of people created that cryptocurrency as a reaction to control the economy of every individual around the world. So the main idea is to create a currency that don't relate, a currency that doesn't rely on central banks and all traditional bank systems. That was the main idea of Bitcoin. How the technology works. There is a ledger that is kind of program or supercomputer that keep track of transactions around the world with Bitcoin. This is set in a blockchain, a kind of secret network that has the objective to protect all the network of Bitcoin of hackers and invaders in those topics. The ledger give a kind of cube to the mining corporations that must solve a complex mathematical problem to liberate one Bitcoin. That process is called proof of work. And in general, all the process is known as mining. So with this process, companies liberate Bitcoins and they can trade all over the world. Economic impact. As a decentralized currency, Bitcoin has been created to spread freedom of movement, because it's a system of a peer-to-peer trade, not a peer, third party, peer trade system that is actually the system that take over the world. I mean, when we in Colombia use Breve, we are paying some charges when transferring money to another person. So Bitcoin is free in this sense. And the idea is to combat charges, unfair charges in our money, kind of taxes. So another economic impact could be the volatility. Bitcoin as a currency suffers a lot of volatility. Is quite uh, um, volatile to world activity. I mean, if someone write down on Twitter, the currency could go down or could go up. The market could be bearish or bullish in this case. Maybe Bitcoin rely on news and opinions of important people around the world. The system functions in the same as gold, supply and demand. There are 21 million of Bitcoins of supply. And nowadays, companies have mining over 19 million. That means that in the 20 years on, the world is expected to mine the next 3 million Bitcoins and end all the supply. So in social impact, Bitcoin could liberate communities that rely only on bankers. That's important because it's a new way of prosperity, like El Salvador. That country tried to liberate his people from uh, the fiat money, like the dollar, like the peso, that is money inflated by central banks, and they decide if the money has a value or not. Bitcoin has its own value. Okay. Environmental impact. Besides the prosperity of Bitcoin, there are certain negative
Cesar,
points.
excuse me. We cannot see your face. And the thing is that we are not watching your presentation. So I think it's important that you show your face in the presentation of the webinar because we cannot see you.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, I was talking about environmental implications. You can see the presentation. Can you see
No,
the presentation?
we
Oh,
can't. No, we can't.
okay.
We are looking at your photo, but we cannot see your presentation, your slideshow presentation. There you are.
Now,
Okay. Yeah.
okay. Environmental impact. As Bitcoin is a prosperous cryptocurrency that now is being accepted by some people, not all the people, it includes certain negative points like high consumption of energy and water. Why? Because companies have to utilize supercomputers to mine all the Bitcoin, and all the usage of these machines can trigger high levels of consumptions, affecting networks around the world, affecting water supply. Even it is considered that Bitcoin wastes a lot of water around the world. And not only all the countries can support this. Maybe advanced countries like the United States, Canada, United Kingdom can establish those companies because they have the resources, economic resources, and also the energy resources um, to mine the Bitcoin. Maybe in Africa it is so difficult. Also, as energy is wasted, maybe the impact on water and subsequent consequences to the climate change could trigger phenomenal around the world in terms of climate and energy waste. Okay, that's my presentation. I expect you to ask me something.
Yeah, guys. So the thing is that you are going to raise your hand and make questions as soon as the presentations continue about that, right? So let's gonna continue with Rafael. You can ask a question to Cesar. Rafael, it's your turn.
Okay, Cesar. Do you think Bitcoin will eventually replace the current currency?
Yes, I'm a Bitcoin believer because I support the idea. I invest in Bitcoin. Nowadays, uh, fiat currency, the normal money that we all know, is losing value. Bitcoin is gaining value every day. Bitcoin is strong against inflation. I think with the years, Bitcoin will be accepted. The bad thing is that uh, millionaires like Warren Buffett and sometimes Elon Musk don't support the idea because they say that Bitcoin is an asset unbacked. I mean, there is nothing behind that asset to replace the Bitcoin. It's only technological. But I think that the world will understand the idea of being liberated of the traditional system of money. Another question, please.
Yes, me. Partner, it's legal to use Bitcoin in all the countries?
No. Bitcoin also is considered as a hub for corruption. That's the negative point that always is mentioned around the world because Bitcoin is the cryptocurrency of the black markets on internet. So certain countries have forbidden the adoption of Bitcoin as a currency because the idea of Bitcoin is become an untrackable currency. So that triggers corruption. And some countries avoid the topic of having Bitcoin. And some countries like the United States now have unclear policies on cryptocurrencies in general. Another question, please.
Me, a classmate Cesar, what could be one challenge related to your topic Bitcoin? One challenge.
Maybe the acceptation and education of countries like Colombia, Latin America in those topics because we are quite ignorance in the evolution of currency. That's a challenge. In Salvador, people don't accept totally the idea because it requires technology. It requires processes, even personal, personal technology like mobile phones to do the transactions. So that's a challenge. And in countries in Africa, could be impossible to cover all the place with Bitcoin. Another question, please.
Okay, so according to your presentation, Cesar, I want to say that you had a good use of the resources also in the explanation. Of course, there are some mistakes pronunciation in the points, okay? So according to the score, you got 14 in this case in presentation, but remember that the highest score is 14. So in this way, you are going to have a lower score. So because you got some mistakes in the sharing of a screen, right? So
Okay.
according to that, you got 12 points out of 14. In the other aspects, you are going to have, let me show you, there you're going to have 14 in pronunciation, fluency, you got 14, grammar points, you got 15, okay? So the total score of it is going to have like 15.7 points. So your partial grade is 4.2.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Let me stop this. Okay.